Hello and welcome everyone. And now everyone can also hear me on this end. Anyway, welcome everyone. My name is Tamala. With me here today is Gradigi, Northern Savannah, and Trevdog, and this is the Pantsless Podcast. How is everyone doing?
Speed run the
Doing
intro. There.
I honestly, I tried to copy everything one to one from my previous setup. I don't know where something got fucked. And I need to check again, what have I messed up and where? I don't know.
So is this a new computer?
Oh yeah.
And how old was your last computer?
That old.
It's not. 4 years.
Yeah, it's like 4 years of data you got to copy over then. So I mean, bound to mess up one place, I guess.
So luckily for me though, I have my old PC still hooked up. It's hooked up to my TV. Because it serves as the rendering machine right now. I will render the podcast episodes on my old machine. And it's also honestly super handy when I set up OBS on the new PC. So I imported all my assets from the old PC. I created a folder that's just shared within the network. So I switched everything over just by click and drag kind of bullshit. But here's where I fucked up. I moved all the files to the shared folder, and then from the shared folder I enabled them into OBS on my new computer. So the folder was on the old PC, and I got the files from there. So when I set it up, everything worked because both PCs were on. Then I went to bed, and the next day I continued working, and I noticed that why does OBS lag every 30 seconds? It completely freezes. And I was fucking googling, and there was a bunch of OBS freezes and threads from few years ago, and I was like, damn, this is so weird. What is my problem? And then I'm like, wait a minute, none of my assets are here. I was looking at my webcam, and none of the overlays and the little animal pictures, none of them were there. And then it clicked. Maybe it's because the fucking assets are still physically on the old PC, and OBS probably tries to load them periodically and fails every time, and that's when the entire system freezes.
I don't know how you figured that out. I wouldn't in a million years.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'd have been like, darn technology.
See, Don, it wasn't even the share thing, because the other PC, when OBS started lagging, the other PC wasn't even on. So I believe that OBS tries to periodically, if it fails to load something, it tries to load it again after a whatever time period. And every time it fails because the other PC again is not on. And yeah, magically when, I then imported all the files to this PC, now everything works.
Crazy.
Yeah. Crazy how it works. Anywho, I'm drinking Red Bull because I am tired as fuck. But I will power through this. How you guys doing?
Good.
Pretty
If
good.
you
Just
hear
woke up.
Yeah, if you hear any loud bangs here, we're getting the last week here at the house. We've been setting up a little music studio in my garage, and so we're still doing that while I'm here. Thankfully, my room is on the complete opposite side of our garage, so probably won't hear anything. But I mean, if you hear a loud explosion, maybe my back wall goes out. That'll be why. But yeah, we had a similar issue like that where we all the musical instruments and microphone and speakers were shocking us when we were touching them and didn't know why. One of my friends figured out it was because we weren't wearing shoes because the electricity needed to be grounded. I was like, that is so weird. So I don't know how
Dang.
people figure things out. Just must be really dumb. So other than that, nothing.
I'm doing pretty good. I had a little trip out of town this weekend and bought some games. I got Chippendale 2 for the NES, which if anyone knows NES games, it's a good one. Pretty pumped to have it. Went to a cat cafe where you just drink coffee and pet cats.
Nice.
Really?
We
Yeah.
have those here.
There was one in St. Louis.
I thought there was that was like an elusive anime thing.
No, it was real. We went and it was an adoption place is what it was, but it was called the Cheshire Cat Cafe. So you just paid like $5 and you could sit in there for an hour, and they had like different kind of coffees and baked stuff, and just got a muffin and a coffee, and we sat up there and pet cats for like 45 minutes.
That's
amazing.
The dream.
Nice.
Yeah. They even had like collars on them. There was one of them that the collars on them to show you how approachable they were, and the one with the big orange one was you couldn't touch. You weren't supposed to get close to it unless you were real confident in your abilities to handle cats. We did not touch it.
Aggro.
I think usually they have like a sign where it is like, don't approach the cat. They will like automatically come to you if they want to or something like that.
Yeah, that's what they told us. Like whenever we went in there, just don't, they'll come to you and whatnot. So
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I think that don't touch animals without like someone else's consent in the first place, unless it's your own pet. Any like animal, I think it's some degree of risk involved if you go like touching an animal that you don't know.
yeah. What was cool was they did have these little signs sitting around that showed like how to detect what the mood of the cat was, because a lot of people don't know that. Like they're not able to discern when a cat, like it's the fact that its ears are laid back and its back is arched. A lot of people just think that's a cat being a cat, not knowing that means that cat's about to attack your face. So they had like signs all around that showed like cat posture whenever they were angry or happy and stuff like that. It was actually really cool.
I'm definitely a dog guy, so I wouldn't know that. Good signs.
I'm an animal person, so I like all the animals. But yeah,
See, for me, it's like when people like when I see like people like walking their dog outside, I've seen people also like just even without asking the owner like permission, they go and pet the dog, and I'm like, that is one, very disrespectful, and two, you potentially could get bitten. Like you have no idea what that dog is, and like why like in what mind do you go like approach a dog and like I'm gonna pet that dog if it's not your own dog?
yeah. What's
I like
wild
how
is like it can do that and bite you, and then you're the one who gets punished. Like they come up on your dog.
guy? Wild.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
I just couldn't. That was so funny.
Because like the dog could honestly, it could be like a protection dog that's like physically like trained to like resist any human that approaches its owner, and you wouldn't know that. The dog doesn't like. There's no sign that don't touch my fucking dog.
Off-duty police dog, yeah. There's a lot of service dogs that also just attack because you get close to the person and they're just like, ooh, pet, and then they die. They're like best case scenario.
Hand.
Yeah.
So, okay. I am noticing this, and probably like now that I'm gonna say it, now everyone else will notice it on stream. I don't know why, but audio and video feed is out of sync. Not for me, for everyone else.
Oh. What? Well, you probably shouldn't have pointed
it
out.
is very minimal, but I notice it very. But I don't know why.
Mention it then.
Don't know why. It's a thing. Luckily we don't have a whole lot of moving pictures.
Yeah, good thing the podcast, kind of genre is a listening kind of deal, so
yeah.
Oh, is it if it's a Discord issue, Rosa, then whew. Thank Jeebus, because I was about to get mad that the new PC that I have is like fucking light years more powerful than the old one, and my god, if I cannot run a fucking
Yeah, for real. How are you liking it on the in the 21st century, Tom? What's going on? How's the computer?
So, the benchmark is obviously how well you run Cyberpunk.
Of course.
For
And,
Crisis 2009.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't have Crisis, unfortunately, but I'm a firm believer in the conspiracy theory that there doesn't exist a computer that can run Crisis without issues. But I can run Cyberpunk now on Ultra at around like 60 to 80 frames per second consistently.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Would you want to run Cyberpunk at Ultra? Is the question.
Yeah, I mean,
Would you
the
want
game
to run
looks good.
Cyberpunk? Let me boil it
Would
down
you
more.
like to run Cyberpunk? Goodness.
It runs well, and like that's with ray tracing on, and but I also have DLSS enabled, so it offsets a little bit of the load. Yeah, new PC is great. Took a while for me to set up everything, mainly because when I got the PC and started like tinkering with it, that was also the day that I got drunk, and when I was hammered, I gave up and watched Netflix.
Too smashed to care. Netflix it is.
Yeah, because even with because people were asking like, why did I buy a pre-built? Why didn't I like build a PC buy the parts and build it myself? So I did that for like over 10 years, for my own PCs and for a number of friends' PCs. I hate the part where you need to research the parts. And because I'm not like in the game anymore at all, I don't keep myself up to date on what is the good parts and bad parts and what parts are like, gamers TM parts right now. And I don't care. Like, I know that PC part picker is what people use, and Sally was also like, use this. It's like super easy to build your PCs, but you still have to do the research on what parts you want. And that is the part that I want to I would pay someone to do that, which is why I buy pre-built PCs, so I don't have to research the parts.
Yeah, you've honestly, like, hearing you talk about not having to do that has made me decide I'm probably going to do the same thing on my on my next one. Because like the only exposure I had to pre-built computers was a buddy in college who was going into IT, and that's the prime time to build your own computer. And he had someone at a local shop sell him a pre-built, and they upcharged him like $1,000. It was like this was 2009, and by the time it was all said and done, he had a $2,200 computer in 2009. That's so much money for a PC back then.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because they upcharged him so much. I'm just like, what universe are you in? You could have made the best PC on the planet for $2,200, and now you just have an okay one. You don't even have the best PC in town.
Yeah, I mean, because I remember
that soured my the taste for me for years until very recently, and then I realized how affordable that stuff has actually become, pre-builts in general.
I mean, I paid like a lot of money for this PC. I'm not gonna lie, and I remember a time like a decade ago when I could buy like a high-end gaming PC for around €1,000, and can't buy a fucking graphics card with €1,000 anymore.
Yeah, that's one of the big reasons.
I just looked up 3090. It costs like $3,200.
Boys, I just figured it out. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go look at a pre-built PC, buy the parts myself.
See,
we did it. We figured it out.
I tried to do that too, but nobody sells the parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get maybe processor and cooler and RAM, and then
but it's the video
CPU.
card.
Yeah. Not a chance.
And I think truthfully, you could probably find quite a few sites that are doing pre-builts cheaper just because they get those pre-scalper bulk prices for their video cards.
Oh yeah, definitely. At least like now, until I'm at that point where I don't believe that the scalper market will ever go away. I believe that people are so fucking deep into crypto mining at this point that it's never gonna stop.
Yeah.
Like we're at that point where the newest cards are always gonna go to miners, and we, like the regular people, we are gonna get the old generation, and then the lucky few are gonna be the ones with the newest card. I mean, I have a 3080 in this PC right now, but no way in hell I'm gonna ever gonna have a 3090.
Yeah, I thankfully when I built my computer, I think it was just a little over 2 years ago. It was like right before they got bad to where you couldn't find a graphics card worth crap. So I thankfully got a decent computer, but my friend who is my roommate was talking to me. He was like, "Hey Trevor, kind of want to get into PCs, or because most of my friends have just been playing on console, and he's like, I want to get a computer. Most schools online now. How do I do it?" And then I was looking up parts. I was like, because usually buying parts and then building it's cheaper. And then I could not find crap that was good at all. And I was like, honestly, go on Facebook and then just see if anyone's selling a good pre-built one that they don't want anymore. That's probably going to be your best bet. And sad, but
I'm kind of on the opposite end with you guys, because I actually like to search for the parts and see what is good, and I enjoy the journey.
Yeah, and there's definitely merit in that if you enjoy doing that, for sure. Ain't nobody got time for that in this house. Nerd. That's right. Let me call
Nerd.
But Tom, what other games can your PC run? This is a segue.
Well, it also ran without any problems Resident Evil Village.
Nice.
I guess we can talk about Village now if you guys want to.
Sure.
You want to?
Probably me talking about Village, but
Yeah, and us going, huh?
Yeah,
sounds
intriguing.
Yeah,
that large.
Tell me more.
Big lady.
Big lady.
Yes. 2 podcasts in a row. Let's go.
Big lady.
Let's make it 3. Talk about the big lady.
I'm a fan of Big Lady. I'll be honest. It's a lot of woman.
How was the big lady? Tell me you had firsthand experience.
Well, the Big Lady is about 1/4 of the game, and then the Big Lady is no more. Marketing wise, I heard Maximilian dude say this because I watched the Drop Frames podcast, and JP asked when they initially started marketing RE8, they put the Big Lady, and then because the reception was so overwhelmingly positive towards them, so JP asked this of Maximilian, do you think that they altered their marketing based on the reception? And Maximilian said 1000% sure, because Capcom themselves said that they were surprised how well she was received on the internet, by thirsty dudes mostly. So and I believe Maximilian when he says that, 1000% sure they altered the marketing immediately when the reception was that good. None of the other villains or characters in Village would have ever reached the level of hype that the Big Lady reached.
I assumed, truth be told, I assumed she was the big bad of the whole thing, just from the marketing.
Yeah, honestly, I thought she was the only enemy in the game.
I thought she was going to be like a Mr. X type of presence. like just an always looming threat of being sat on, which I was on board with. That's what but I thought that's what she was going to be, is she was just going to kind of like always be somewhere and you would just hear go off in the distance.
Oh, yeah. That didn't really happen. She was enjoyable as long as she was in the game. But anyway, Resident Evil 7 released about 4 years ago, and that game, to me and to many others, is more... We look at that game and we see more of a soft reboot of the Resident Evil franchise. It introduced a lot of new things to the franchise. First-person mode and, an entirely new protagonist being Ethan Winters. And it went really like back to the series roots within, having a really like self-contained, pure survival horror experience. The game was widely like critically acclaimed, and people thought that it was a very big step towards the right direction compared to like the previous entries of mainly like 5 and 6, which were, especially 6 was a mess of a video game with no direction and no focus, and it was just everything in a hodgepodge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil Village is a direct sequel to 7. So much so that I believe personally that playing Village without playing 7 is a detriment to your experience if you play Village. I highly recommend playing 7 before Village, because there are things in Village where the game kind of assumes that you did play 7. And it does not explain those things for those who have not played 7.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that until you said something that it was a sequel, because it's the same main guy, and I didn't think that at all. So, and if you didn't like, if you bought it purely for the big lady and didn't play 7, you're gonna be real confused, because I do know some things, like you said, some things did happen in it that you just assumed you already knew. I feel like that was kind of a silly decision of them not to market it more as like a 7 part 2, because I don't think there's been has there been another Resident Evil that had a direct sequel like that where you played like the main protagonist the same 2 games in a row?
No.
I feel like they did mess up by not marketing it as like a sequel to 7 in some way. Because like I said, I had no idea. Even though they did say his name was Ethan in the trailers and stuff, I didn't know that was the main character from 7.
It is at the end of the day a money thing. So they probably saw how hyped the big lady was, but just like, oh, we'll get people to buy it, right? And it doesn't. Like, so in a player standpoint, yeah, if you don't know, like, it was not, I guess, well communicated that it was a direct sequel just with all the marketing, but at the end of the day, they got, bank, so, yeah.
So Resident Evil as a franchise as a whole, what they do mostly with their video games is that all of the games are pretty much like self-contained stories. But then they have this overarching kind of plot thing going on. And a lot of games, when they end, they leave it kind of like open. So I was thinking about it today, like how would I phrase it? And this like the kind of the best way for me that I came up. Resident Evil games, they end the same way as Marvel movies end. Where the story in the movie, it comes to a conclusion. And then in the mid-credit scene and the post-credit scene, they set up the next movie. And Resident Evil does the exact same thing, where the thing that happens in the game, it comes to a definite conclusion, but then right before the ending cut scene, and then the credits and the post-credit scene, they clearly set up, that the story continues in some way. And, on one hand, I hate it, because there's never like a guarantee that a sequel will come out for a video game. But there is definitely gonna be an RE9. Like, most definitely. There's no question about it.
I don't doubt it. Do not doubt it.
But what kind of game is Village, though? Village is a action horror game. I say action first because it is primarily action and first and horror second. This is in response to criticism of 7 that it was way too scary for people. Capcom toned it down.
Oh,
Fucking
I like that
bitches.
It was that scary though. Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true. They said on the Drop Frames podcast today that it was mainly from the Japanese audience that thought that it was too scary. I have no backing, like, I don't know if it's actually just the Japanese player base that thought it was too scary. But I know that the spook levels were brought down because Capcom got like feedback that 7 was too scary.
A little disappointing. I would understand if, you know, you go in and buy a SpongeBob game and then there's criticism that it's too scary, but you're buying a game that's called Resident Evil. Evil.
Yeah.
No, as a guy who cannot take horror games myself, I get it. I'm just making more of a joke jab at him.
Yeah, but if you buy a horror game, you're probably gonna think, "Oh, this is scary. I'm gonna play it." But then it's too scary.
To be fair, Resident Evil 7 is killer scary. I've played about 2 hours of that game, and oh my gosh, that is scary. Now, granted, there are not many good like horror games that come out, you know, recently, but like, it's scary.
Like, from a marketing standpoint, I understand Capcom like completely. If the feedback clearly is like, this game is excellent, but we can't play it because it's too scary, then Capcom will immediately go like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna tone down the scary levels so that you can play this game. And I will say this. In the past, I have been very adamant about, like, keep horror games horror, right? Like, I even said about Village before Village came out that I really hope that it is going to be scary. I hope that they don't have too much, like, action in it. But now that I've played Village, this is probably the best mix of, like, action and horror that Capcom has ever done. It feels like a really, like, wild ride to play the game. Like, so much happens and so much crazy shit happens. And I thoroughly enjoyed the game from start to finish.
Yeah, Ethan can definitely take a beating.
Yeah, that man's wild. Every
So
every gameplay thing I see of him, he has less and less fingers.
So that was one of the things that actually was brought up to me. I was talking to Don Mincy, I think it was about it. And like Ethan does get this shit kicked out of him all the time. And I guess it never explains in 8 that it's because he's not just a normal guy. In 7, he gets injected with some shit and he's like a super guy now. So that's like one of the things that you have to have played 7 to know in 8, right? And do they explain it?
Well, first of all, spoilers.
To the
But
first hour of Resident Evil 7, I guess.
Yeah.
so the thing is that most people who played 7 don't know it. Most people miss it completely, that he gets infected by the Megamycete completely. And that is why they have to, like, they explain it in 8 that he's not normal. Because most people did not find out about it in 7. Me included.
How were you supposed to find it out in the 7?
You piece it together by reading the notes at the end of the game and figuring out that Ethan has regenerative abilities.
Didn't he just slap his hand back on his arm and it reconnect in 7?
Yeah, that was like in the first hour, I believe.
But
Because
because his hand gets stapled together, I believe that is the reason most players did not think about it too much.
that doesn't reconnect the nerves. Resident Evil
I know.
players are dumb.
I know. He gets
exactly.
his hand chopped off. Yes, he gets. There's also a section in 7 in the very beginning where Jack Baker being one of the antagonists, there's a possibility that in the beginning of the game that he chops off Ethan's foot completely, severs it. And Ethan like literally just puts it together and pours magic juice on it, and it just reconnects magically. That is the bigger like hint that Ethan is not normal anymore. Because when he gets his hand severed off, you don't see the hand getting like reattached. You only see it getting stapled. So the logic being that who the fuck knows who sewed his hand back together, because you can reattach limbs. But the way his foot gets severed, he literally takes the foot and places it back and pours some juice on it, and it just reattaches itself.
Solid.
But it is explained like really explained in 8 that he's not normal, and that he got infected in the beginning of the 7th game.
That's funny. That the one example I had was actually explained. Yeah, just slap like seal, fix it right up. That's not that much damage.
Exactly. Ethan gets way more punished though in 8. Even like Trevor, not this Trevor, the old Trevor. We had an exchange on Discord. I'm gonna read his DM that he sent to me, because by the end of the game, I couldn't stop like laughing about it. And he said, I don't understand the writers of Resident Evil 7/8. Like, they have no concept of what damage the human body does. And I found it funny that in 8 he gets his other hand completely severed off. And,
of course.
And he just puts it back on and pours some juice on it, and it's fine.
Like, when you think about it, even if he has to like realize that something's up, because who in their right mind would thought like, oh, my hand is off, like I'm just gonna put it back right there and just pour the magic juice there, and it's like,
Ethan has a response to all of it, and he literally says, "What the fuck." That's it.
He gets it lopped
better
off,
response.
and he just like picks up his hand and puts it in his pocket. And it's just part of your inventory for a little bit in 7. And then you just slap that bad boy back on, pour some goop on it.
I mean, hey, worst case scenario, it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
And then you still have your hand.
You might as well try.
Yeah.
So
but
does
Village?
I don't want to ask too many spoiler questions.
I mean, I don't mind fucking spoiling the entire thing. Like,
I don't. But I'm not going to on the thing. I was gonna ask if he knew. I guess that's not a spoiler for Village. For 7, it is. Like, does he know he's not a dude, not a normal guy anymore?
No.
Okay.
Ethan is the most oblivious dude in all of video games. He doesn't know anything. His response to everything is what the fuck. But Village, let's talk a little bit more what Village is and how the game works. So like I said, it's more of an action-based horror game. And the premise of the game is that Ethan and Mia being the wife that Ethan saves in the 7th game, which makes saving Mia canon. Because there is a choice you make in 7, you either save your wife or you save a random girl instead of your wife. But saving Mia is canon, according to Village. Because of the events of 7... What?
Which one's Mia, the wife or the random lady?
The wife.
Okay.
Zoe is the random lady. Zoe is in 7 very little, I feel like. Anyway, so because of the events of 7, Mia and Ethan are relocated to Europe, somewhere in Europe, most likely like Eastern Europe, and they are living there with their daughter Rose, And then some shenanigans happens, and Ethan goes off on a merry adventure against his will, of course, which leads him to end up in the titular village. The village has no name; it's just the village, and the village serves as a central hub in the game. You are very quickly introduced to the villains of the game, and the villains are they're lords of the village, the surrounding areas of the village. And the basic gameplay loop is you go to each of these areas in order, and you get upgrades, and you come back to the village after every lord, and then you unlock more of the village as you go, because you get some key item in the previous area that you were in. And then you beat the big bad, and the game ends. And then they set up the next game.
Do you think the next game? Well, that'll be spoilers. Never mind.
Nothing I could say about the next game would, because I don't know if the next game would end immediately after Village or like 20 years after Village.
Well, I was going to ask if you think Ethan would be the protagonist for 9 as well, but that would be kind of spoiler.
I will refuse to answer that for sure.
Yeah, that is definitely spoiler territory, because that's talking about whether or not he even survives the game.
But I know Joe probably wants to ask this question, so I'm gonna answer it for him. Is the game spooky?
Yes.
So overall, I would say that as an entire experience, Village is on the spook level, probably on a 4 or a 5 out of 10. So not that spooky, but I can take like a single section of gameplay from Village, the Beneviento house. That fucking thing is like a 9 or a 10 spook level.
I'm glad they do that, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I
feel like that's what you really need. It doesn't have to be a 9 out of 10 the whole game. You'll get wore out. That sounds exhausting, being afraid for that long. But having like 1 or 2 super scary parts, and then just like the rest just keep you on edge, I feel like that is the way to go. Especially for like an action horror game.
It reminds me of when I was growing up. I played it was one of the Batman games where I think I'm gonna say it's Origins, where you fight Bane, and Bane's the big muscle guy, but you can't see through that. Maybe that's it. But you have to crawl through vents, and usually in those Batman games you can like see through walls and whatever. You have to crawl through vents, and it's just like in a very enclosed space, and his hand just popped. Like that scares the crap out of me. Me being 9 or 10 at the time, that I couldn't handle it. I did it, but lost a few years of my life. But it gives me like the same vibes where it's like it's a portion, and I really like how that is. Especially not diluting too much away from what made the first one, in my opinion, like a classic.
The Beneviento house, which is the scariest part of Village, it's masterfully done in a way where you walk in this house and nothing happens for so long. And the tension just builds because something's about to happen, but it takes ungodly long for anything to happen. And then you're presented with this puzzle, which is a simple puzzle. There's like almost nothing to it. And then it takes a sharp fucking left turn, and my god, I could not play it. I had to stop the game and like and like psych myself up to not be a bitch and just go on. It's terrifying.
I'm glad that they actually still had some horror in it, and not just be like, oh, this is an action game with some minor horror elements. But it's good that they sort of like ramp it up towards that and then cool it down a little bit.
That's what Resident Evil 7's too scary off the bat, but if they rope you in for hours, you're already that deep into it. You can't turn away now. You got to play it.
Now you gotta play because
no matter how scary it is, you got to psych yourself up and play it.
Another aspect of Village that I really think that is like, because I've been trying to like, in my head I'm comparing Village to 7 very much. They are so close, tied together. But I feel like I'm doing a disservice to both games when I do that, because 7 is very clearly like the self-contained survival horror experience, where 8 is much more grander and, you know, it's like being in a theme park essentially. On like a ride. But I feel like Village is so much a better game. Like for one, they have like a massive enemy variety, which I never really like considered the enemies like bad in 7, but when you're fighting the same things from start to finish, it's a little derpy. But then they introduce in Village like a bunch of different enemies. And I didn't even consider that I wanted that, but it felt so good to actually fight different things. And I think the Baker family in 7 they're good villains. But my god, the villains in Village are way better. They get way more screen time. They are way more like unique, and they're fucking not insane like the Baker family, but they some of them have like clear motivations, and like one is like a grotesque like dude who just pukes everywhere, and he like feels sorry for himself, and all the other lords just hate him because he's a little bitch. And you know, they have these personalities and they clash with each other, and it builds character. And like one of them is actively trying to he tries to recruit Ethan to like fight with him against like the big bad. And in this weird kind of way where I'm like kind of on his side, but I still want to beat the shit out of him, and you know, it has layers, and I'm like, fuck me, like 7 never had any of this. They really tried to like shoo it in 7 when Ethan has this vision when he's trapped by Evelyn. And that's when, you know, the game reveals in 7 that Evelyn is controlling the Baker family, and he's in this dream state, and he's talking to Jack Baker, and he's like please, like, kill this child because, you know, she fucked up our lives. And that's where you're like, oh, so these people were not crazy. They were like fucked up by this little child. Village also, what it does is it ties both 7 and 8 way more into the overarching RE franchise. They like the big bad in Village is probably the most important character in all of RE franchises, like the entire franchise.
Wow. Wild. And yeah, I know you can't say too much without like going into spoiler territory for, you know, both, you know, us who haven't played the game and people watching. So
yeah, there's a lot of questions I want to ask just because I love lore in general, even for games I haven't played. But I know that'd be huge spoiler territory, so I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I would basically spoil the entire story.
Yeah. Is it something they drag out who it is in the game, or do you know like right off the bat? I don't feel like that's a spoiler.
No, you don't understand the extent of it.
No, I don't. I mean,
as the player, you don't understand the extent of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm dumb. Yeah, okay. So it's kind of a mystery through the whole thing who it is.
It's more that like you understand that this big bad is special, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, like, because there's people in the village, like just regular people, and they don't really explain to the player. They do these vague things where they say that, they deify the big bad essentially. And they think of the big bad as a god more or less. And then by the end of the game, and that's where, that's how Capcom does these games, that when you're right at the end of the game, they do this information dump on the player where they reveal the entire thing essentially. And that's when it becomes super clear to the player, like, who the big bad is and why the big bad essentially is the catalyst for the entire franchise.
That's really cool.
Oh, I kind of want to play it.
Same.
But I kind of want to
played
play
any of
7 first, but I'm a major pussy and I can't play that game.
Yeah, no. I remember it was probably like, I want to say probably 4 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, when I played 7, and I played it once for like 3 hours, and afterwards I laid down in my bed for a good hour listening to very happy Nintendo music. And
I believe you could play 8 without playing 7, but there are things that will probably go over your head. But it's not like the entire experience would get destroyed or anything like that. But and I really don't know if it would be like key information that you would not get. And I guess you could piece it together. To me, it's like, it's super hard to differentiate, because I have played 7 and I don't know what I would not know if I would have not played 7.
Yeah.
Doesn't 7 have a DLC?
Oh yeah, but the DLCs they don't matter.
Oh, okay. I was like interested if that has some story to it.
They expand the Baker family more in the DLCs.
Yeah.
Is it so I'm getting the vibe it's more like kind of like a superhero movie. Like, if you watch Ant-Man 2, you'll understand what's happening, but if you don't know, watch the first Ant-Man, you're not gonna really, like, you'll understand why Ant-Man's small, right? But
yeah, see, like, I get what you mean, and I think you could play 8 and like understand what's going on, and especially at the end when they give you the information dump. And it helps if you're like, you understand that there is a thing called Resident Evil 7. Like if you haven't played it, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit and say that you could play Village without playing 7. Yeah, I think if any reasonably intelligent enough person could connect the dots. And if you read all the little data logs right at the end of the game, I think you could really. Thankfully, like, I hate reading on stream. I really fucking hate it. But thankfully, the data logs, they're not called data logs, but data logs is used everywhere. So anyway, like, the little pieces of things that you could read, they are thankfully super fucking short. Like, they condense the crucial information that you want to read. It's like there. I really appreciate that.
yeah, I remember one of the big DLCs for Final Fantasy 15, which is not how you do DLCs, by the way. Never do it like that. Off topic, but it was Prompto's, one of the main guys, and to get the story of it, you had to read probably 30 pages of data logs, and it was excruciating. I like reading, but when I'm playing a video game, I'm not really, unless I'm like Phoenix Wright visual noveling it, I'm not expecting to read. It's not the pastime I'm going for at the moment. So I'm glad they're short.
Yeah, because I'm playing Cyberpunk right now, like, off stream and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, sweet Jesus, the amount of stuff that you can read. You literally find shit to read every 2 steps. It's insane.
Wow.
And, like, one thing that like it actively is like pissing me off in Cyberpunk is that so there's different gangs in Cyberpunk, and every new area that you go to, the gang leader essentially calls you and it's like, I know you and you don't know me, and it's like, oh, hello. And then they offer like you a vehicle, but the vehicles cost money. I shit you not, I have 40 fucking quests where it's just to buy vehicles.
Yep.
It's insane. Like, why do I need all of these vehicles? I don't understand. Like, and I get those fucking quests every time I play. I have gone to each area already multiple times, and I still get like, yo, V, want to check out this ride? And it's like, and I click open the fucking thing, and it's like, this fucking car costs like $100K. I have fucking $5K. Like, I don't have money for this.
And everyone called you. Not on top of that, every single person in Cyberpunk has your phone number.
Oh yeah, they call you fucking. They never stop calling.
That was my big gripe with the game. It's not like I expect it to be like Skyrim where you go in and you're like, all right, you walk around and you find things to do, and it's just like, no, you phone call going off every 2 minutes. It's what to do. Do this.
Yo, V, you wanna do a quest? Fuck off! Fuck off!
I'm in the middle of 7 important things right now, and you're calling me asking me to pick up your oranges. Go away.
Because I was driving to a street race, and on the way to the fucking street race, I got 2 car quests. I got 2 side quests, and then like I stopped at like it looked like a bus stop. And there was still a dude like, yo, hey, wanna come talk to me? No, not now. Like, come on. God damn.
Wow.
Off topic, but
I didn't think anything could be as bad as GTA calls. I have never ignored more. I've probably ignored more calls in GTA than my entire life combined.
yeah,
The actual phone, including all the bots lately, all the bot calls.
and
I've
the bad
still
thing
ignored all
about Cyberpunk is, well, at least in GTA, it's your close friend calling you every 2 seconds. The bad thing about GTA is they have the same thing to say every time. The thing about Cyberpunk is it's 100, 200 different people calling you. Like, how does my phone number get around that easily?
I'm a criminal. How does everyone know me?
Yeah, I feel like
they
there's the phone book is 1 page and has my name on it.
It's also
They
like
hacked it, dude. They hacked the whole thing.
it's like story wise. I think there's a massive pacing issues in Cyberpunk, and I don't know how you would fix it in a way, because everyone just knows you. Like literally, I chose the corpo route, which means I'm a corporate like asshole essentially. So the game like starts, there's like stuff happens, and then like when you get the credits, like Cyberpunk, no, not the credits, the title of the game, like Cyberpunk, that's when you played 2 hours already. And then there's a time skip of like, I don't know how long, like months or years or whatever. So I'm assuming that you get to know everyone during that time when you get a montage. And after that, like, because you still, the player doesn't know anyone. So when someone calls V, and he's like, hello? And they, yo, V, I see you've been going up the ladder. Who's calling? Who you? And it's like, where do these people get my phone number? And
I thought about GTA 5 calls too. And there's actually one caller you can like hang up. And you're always like middle of something, doing something crazy, like, I'm trafficking drugs, like, stop calling me, I'm driving a tank in the highway or something like that, and there's like billion cops around me, and the dude is called English Dave, and it keeps calling you with that accent and be like, hey dude, can you bring me pizza or these clothes that I ordered? Can you like bring them to me? Oh, okay. I'll talk to you later. I'll go kill the messenger.
Other than that, Cyberpunk is a pretty good game.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I said that when it came out.
How did we go from RE to Cyberpunk?
I don't know. It's the games that I've been playing, I guess.
What have you been playing, North?
GTA 5.
There you go.
Yep.
We got there too.
Yeah, we got there too.
I'll finish the Village talk though. Like, RE Village is an excellent video game. I recommend Village for everyone. The ending of Village is fucking crazy. It's like literally insane, and like so much stuff happens, and it opens up so many doors that it's insane. I am fucking firmly in the ReCamp right now. I need to know what happens next.
Hope you're ready to wait 4 to 5 years, Buster.
Yeah. All the information you're going to get is from that CGI TV show coming to Netflix.
Yucky.
I'm gonna watch it. I mean, it's gonna be like RE2, I guess, on the Netflix show.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
I think there was already some like older CGI Resident Evil videos on.
Oh, it comes out
on Netflix.
in 2 months, July.
Yeah, there's something called Resident Evil Damnation and Resident Evil Generation.
Yeah, the old Resident Evil movies are weird. I don't remember much about them other than them being absolute nonsense.
I mean, the Paul Wes Anderson movies are all garbage.
Yeah,
not the first one. The first one was pretty competent, but then they're just garbage.
They're guilty pleasure. I've seen all of them a couple times.
I mean,
actually, I just watched Afterlife like last week. It was up on Netflix. Like, why not? I'm playing games, so I just threw it on in the background. I mean, because I didn't realize how much of that movie is literally just action. It's like from the very beginning, it is just action, and then there's like 3 minutes of dialogue, and then there's just more action. So it's like I'm not even really missing anything. Every scene is just a highlight. That's what it felt like, because it was
it's
just
a trailer movie.
Oh, it really is. It really was a trailer movie. Like everything is like 5 minutes. No scene is longer than 5 minutes. If they do, zombies come in. That's just how it works. And people just disappear, and then someone shows up, and then they get in a fight, and then it's the next scene. And that's the entire movie for an hour and a half. So yeah, it was pretty good background noise.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Doom movie?
Oh, that's garbage too.
Is it?
Yeah,
yeah. It's complete garbage.
Yeah, I saw that in theaters.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I just noted that the movie had Karl Urban.
Yeah, and The Rock.
And The Rock, yeah.
Have you not? That's crazy that you haven't seen it.
I was like 11 when that came out.
It's total garbage.
Yeah. What's funny about that movie though is that they marketed it and even like most of the movie is shot that The Rock is gonna be the hero, and then he's the bad guy. and then at the end he gets infected by the demon virus, because they're not actually demons or Martians. It's a demon virus, and he gets infected, and his. Have you ever seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer? It's
like some of it, yeah.
Do you know how their faces get whenever they turn into a vampire? It just kind of like scrunches up and they get angry. Yeah. That's what happens to The Rock.
And then the game goes first person mode. No, not the game. The movie goes first person mode.
Yeah, that was probably the only good part. Was almost the entire finale for that is first person from Karl Urban, who's just running around blasting demons.
Is it like his hand comes from his chest and there's like pistol here and goes like
It does play the song, yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, you only see the gun and it's like yeah, for sure.
That's the only thing that people remember from that movie too.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I want to see that.
I would definitely recommend watching that just for that scene.
Have y'all seen the 2019 Doom movie? Did y'all hear about that? Doom Annihilation. It's like a B movie.
I have seen it. It was bad.
Yeah, because when you said Doom movie, this is what I thought of, because I'm a little bit younger than y'all, and I haven't seen the 2005 one, but the 2019, the tagline for it is "It's not a game anymore," and it looks abysmal. I forgot.
It's also not a movie.
Yeah, it's also not a movie. I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it. I remember seeing a trailer for it and just laughing.
They are like rebooting the Ari movies too now. There's gonna be like 2 separate shows, I believe, and like the movie rebooted. Or the movie franchise rebooted.
I remember the movie's gonna be live action, and then the TV show's gonna be CGI, I believe, was what I read.
Yeah, and like there's gonna be 2 different shows, right?
I can't remember. I only know of the one coming out in 2 months.
Because I think one is for Netflix and the other one is like something separate.
Oh. We can figure that out right now.
It like that like reminds me of like what Ubisoft did like a couple days ago when they announced like all their plans for the Division. Like there's going to be a free-to-play Division game, then there's going to be a Division TV show, and then there's going to be a Division movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Is it that
popular?
I don't know. I don't play it. I don't know anyone who does.
I played the first one and it was kind of fun, but it wasn't anything special. I didn't know.
It would be fun if
other.
Ubisoft
it would be
also
fun if the enemies wouldn't take like 2 magazines to kill them. Or more.
That's like with any like MMO like that though.
Ubi also announced that they're gonna like title their games like a Ubisoft original. So now it's gonna be like Tom Clancy's The Division, a Ubisoft original.
As the years go by, they just get one more thing they have to put in front of it.
Yeah,
that's such a Ubisoft thing to do, and I hate it.
Yeah,
Ubisoft original quadruple A.
Quadruple A.
Yeah. The same multiplayer game we've made every year, just reskinned.
Let's also never forget that Ubisoft is the company where they harbored sexual predators, and like never stopped like abuse of their workers from management position people.
Ay.
Yep. Not great.
Not great indeed.
Neither is Watch Dogs Legion, so it reflects.
Got him.
Or any other Ubisoft game.
Or most modern Ubisoft games, unfortunately.
It was also kind of speculated that Ubi is gonna like shift towards this EA kind of model. Jeff Keighley like reported that 26% of EA's revenue comes from premium games, so that's the $60 games, and all the rest is from like microtransaction mobile games and like assortment things. So if 3/4 of EA's revenue is from not selling video games, but you know, from the things that you buy within those video games, then yeah, I why would Ubisoft not do that?
That's ugly. I didn't want to hear that. But oh well.
Yeah.
It's all about the money.
Unfortunately. Vote with your wallet, folks. Don't give them money.
I think Carnage said it pretty like well today when he said that, you know, when a new studio like is formed, those developers, they're passionate about their video games and they want to do the best product. Like it's more about the passion than the money. But the more successful they come, the more it attracts people who only care about the bottom line. And ultimately, if they get big enough, those passionate people will get replaced by those people who only care about making as much money as possible. And ultimately, there's going to be a board formed, for instance, the board of directors, and they literally only care about making as much dollars as possible. Who cares about passion at that point? If mobile games is the one thing that sells the most, then we're going to make mobile games. If having like gambling mechanics in video games, as long as it's like legal, of course we're going to have gambling mechanics so children can like gamble their parents' monies away.
Yep.
Play indie games. They're fun.
Play indie games. They are fun. I realized whenever I bought Pokemon Snap that was like the first $60 game since I had bought Final Fantasy VII. And I don't even know, probably before that was maybe, I don't even know. I really can't even think of like that many $60 games I've bought terribly recently. it's definitely been a lot of indie games and lower cost games for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I bought Village. That was $60, and for that, like any game come out, like
Oh, you bought Cyberpunk at release, didn't you?
Yeah.
yes, that is correct. I did.
I think Cyberpunk's the last one I bought too. But I bought the new Nier game last week, which was $60, which I haven't been able to play because the band studio stuff, but I'll get to it.
But yeah, like last year, the $60 games. Bought Doom Eternal, bought Final Fantasy VII. I don't remember how much Resident Evil 3 remake cost. Probably like $40.
Oh, it's 60, right? Was it 40?
Not sure.
I did buy Doom Eternal. I forgot about Doom Eternal.
I bought Last of Us Part 2. I bought Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. I think that was $40 too. Maybe it was 60, I don't remember. Yeah, Cyberpunk. Yeah.
Still, indie games are good.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know what happens next month, boys?
EA.
EA?
I hope EA doesn't happen, I'll tell you that.
Hate on my mind.
Let the hate flow through you.
E3.
E3 is happening next month. I'm super excited. Like last year we didn't have one because of the you know the virus and everything. And yeah, super excited.
There's a lot of companies there too, surprisingly, because a lot of people were like, well, we don't know, PlayStation pulled out. People were like, oh, why don't they just do their own conferences, kind of like last year? But no, I think most big companies other than like PlayStation are on board, which is exciting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big one. I think I have a feeling that there was probably some titles that were supposed to be announced last year and weren't. So and possibly some updates on stuff that we could have gotten that maybe weren't because they wanted the big crowd. So I'm hoping that this year is going to be a banger to make up for last year. But that's completely baseless and just a pipe dream. But I feel like they probably didn't announce as much stuff as they could have last year because there wasn't really any huge announcements that happened last year that I can think of.
Yeah,
There wasn't. Everything got delayed, and I've said this a couple of times now that I predicted this year to be like super barren of any big games anyway, because of the new console generation and then plus COVID. And so far that is holding true pretty heavily. Like we're now in May, and this is the first month a AAA game came out this year. There hasn't been anything before Village. And like next month, I think we have Ratchet and Clank coming out on the PS5.
Well, there was that Returnal game too, right?
Oh yeah, but Returnal is not a big budget AAA game. But it did come out, and I mean Returnal, for all intents and purposes, Returnal seems to be like a fantastic video game, and a lot of people are already saying that it's going to be their game of the year. And I listened to the Drop Frames podcast today when they had spoiler talks about Returnal. Oh boy, I want to play Returnal. Like apparently the story is fucked up and weird and like super up my alley, where it's like you can interpret all sorts of stuff, and because I was listening to Ko and Maximilian dude like go head to head in this fun way, not like they were like antagonizing each other, but they came out of that game like having two completely different experiences and like interpretations of what the game was trying to tell, and I love that sort of shit.
Yeah, that's cool. It definitely seems pretty interesting. I feel like it's really one of the first big, because it is a roguelike, isn't it? Like a third person shooter roguelike sorta.
So It is, and it's definitely not.
Okay. Never mind then. I don't know if I can even say what I was gonna say. Because I thought it was just like a roguelike, and like it was just basically one playthrough of the game at a time, and then you just had to start over. Because I was seeing where people were complaining that some of the runs, because it doesn't have any save points in it during these runs, some people were taking like 2 hours just to do like one successful run through of the game. But I don't know what that exactly entails. So
it So I haven't played obviously the game myself, but it has those roguelite elements in it, but ultimately it's not about that. I don't know how to explain it because I have not really played it, and I can't really like mimic what Maximilian told today.
okay.
But it has those roguelite elements, but like even watching like SkillUp's review, like he said that it has like those elements, and it's really been marketed as a roguelite, but it really isn't in the end like that. But it definitely has those elements, but it shouldn't be called a roguelite.
I'm very happy that game, it was one of the games where I was like, oh, it looks like so basic. It looks like everything else I've ever seen. I thought it was going to be trash, and turns out it's not trash. I was completely wrong on that side, and I'm very happy that I was. I mean, again, haven't played it, but just the fact that it was, something good that came out this year, which is
because the trailer basically gives away nothing about the game. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't give you like any story or really any gameplay elements other than your shooting, and that's about it. It really doesn't tell you much at all.
But what I wanted to go back to like the E3 thing. So last year, yeah, I do agree with Joe that there was probably things that they wanted to show last year and then nobody showed anything. I think ultimately that was probably for the best. I think last year's show could have been super underwhelming, the grand scheme of things, because everything has been delayed. I think this year, I think everyone should be excited for this year's E3 because this will show where the new generation is going to be heading towards. If they're not going to show like next gen stuff, then I will be super disappointed. But this is the year to do it. This is the year to, and I say this fully understanding that nobody can fucking buy a PS4 or PS5 or an Xbox for that matter. But now would be the time to get people excited for this generation.
I could definitely see them being scared too, though, just because like same thing with the Final Fantasy. The what did they name the new DLC that's just for the PS5?
Integrate.
That's what it was. With it being like PS5 exclusive, but people really want to play it, but nobody can get their hands on a PS5. I could see them being scared to kind of go that way, but I mean they need to at this point. Like you released your console almost a year ago, so
Yeah, and that's actually a good question. Like what maybe I think people will get mad if they release a bunch of really hype stuff that no one can play. Now, of course, that'll only be in Sony's case, for stuff on that platform. But maybe there won't be that much PlayStation exclusive stuff since they won't be there, even if it's from a third party developer.
what I
Hopefully
think
they
what
don't.
what happened what I think what happened when they didn't do it before is they'll probably do a thing like a week before. I think that's what happened last time where they kind of hit the punch first. Maybe that would be my prediction is they announce, hey, we're doing a state of play that's an hour long, a week before actual E3, and then
Yeah, I mean,
get the
Sony's
same
been doing
amount.
those anyway. And if I'm at that point where I'm happy to watch like any PS5 exclusive trailers, but I know that I'm literally the the poor kid behind the glass being like, oh man, even though I'm not poor, I could buy a PS5. But,
Yeah, it's not
there
even
are
that.
the fucking PS5s.
Yeah.
And like I listened to a discussion about that too today, where it's basically like, how much does it kind of factor into Sony's decision to put these exclusives on PC, because they know that their sales are gonna be like lower than normal, because people they won't buy the software where they can't even buy the hardware anywhere. But on PC, that, I understand that everyone doesn't have a gaming PC, but still, like, at least people have PCs and they could like buy those games.
I think they're trying to find a balance with both, because if you say, okay, all our PS5 stuff is also going to be on PC, then you're cutting yourself in the throat, being like, why would anybody buy PS5 now, right? Like, if you have a PC, like hardcore gamers, why what? But then at the same time, if you just release software exclusively for the PS5 that nobody can buy, it's going to make your software sales go, plummet downwards, I guess, if I were to English. But like Days Gone, right? I think they're starting to try to hit both with like releasing Days Gone on Steam and probably more stuff in a bit.
Because like how much does it piss off the Returnal devs, for instance, when the game's basically gotten universal acclaim, like and really like everyone needs to play this game, and then like their sales could be better if they would have those consoles. Because go to any fucking bigger streamer that plays Returnal, and you're bound to find like multiple comments of people saying, man, I wish I could play this game, but I can't fucking buy a console to play it.
Yeah. They're in a tough spot. They really are. I mean, they've hamstrung themselves just because of their supply. And it's like, do you want to just keep pumping out stuff that only so many people can buy? Or do you want to actually try to get some money and put it on both things? Because they're not going to buy it on the PlayStation. Obviously, if they don't have a PlayStation, even if that would be their preference normally, when given like the choice between their PC and their PlayStation, well, if they don't have the PS5, they're going to have to buy it on PC, and they're not going to buy it again when they can finally get a PS5. So they're in a tough spot.
And like recently, like a couple days ago, it was also like Bloomberg reported that the PS5's shortage is going to continue like to the next year. So, so like how willing are they basically to take a hit here? And I mean, I understand that, okay, if there's a game that has been in development for like the last 4 years for the PS5, they're not gonna like shift development now and be like, oh, okay, it's gonna come also out on PC. Especially if it's like hand built for the console itself.
Yeah.
Like Returnal is.
I'm kind of scared they're coasting, right? Because right now, in regards to PS5 exclusives, you have like Demon's Souls, Returnal, and that's, hitting the big things. It's not much at all. Most stuff you can go back, play on the PS4. I'm scared they might get caught in this loop of console sales are getting as much as we can out of them right now. But if we make stuff for the PS5, we're going to lose money. So don't develop anything for the PS5. And then have this backlog of like, okay, now people are starting to get PS5s. Let's start something that you get in 3 years, And I don't think that would be, an extreme case, but they could be coasting and then you not see stuff that, last next gen consoles got games, way earlier than maybe this generation will.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, it's definitely weird for them. Like to have 100% of your consoles sold, but still not be able to sell as many games as you want. And I'd be really curious to know what their best selling games are right now, and see what kind of gamers have gotten their hands on a PS5 already? Or is it like hardcore gamers that have like a wide variety of games that they play? They just play everything they can get their hands on, or is it, like more FPS guys? Is it just a big Call of Duty machine for a lot of people right now? I'm really curious where it is and how those sales are being distributed.
Well, I know which PS5 games are the most sold on PS5. Demon Souls and Returnal.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing else. And like guaranteed Ratchet and Clank will be the best selling PS5 game next month. It's still a franchise that people know, and by all intents and purposes, it looks fucking amazing.
I definitely don't think that Sony is gonna pull the nobody's buying, or we can't get enough PS5s out there, so we're not gonna make anything for it. Like, I definitely think they are making something for it. It's just kind of scary. Like, they could definitely move away from what made the PS4, the better console of the generation, which is the games. Because at the end of the day, it's money. So
ultimately, I think that Sony is not really competing with anyone, though.
True. I mean,
Microsoft has like completely like foregone. Yeah, but the Xbox is not competing with the PS4, like the PlayStation anymore, really. Because Microsoft's like vision clearly is that you play your games on whatever device that's just a Microsoft device, and they've foregone like the console war mentality completely. Like nobody. It's like people don't even talk about Nintendo, that Nintendo makes exclusives because Nintendo makes Nintendo games. But Sony is making exclusives. But Microsoft is not. Like, nobody's calling Halo an exclusive because you can play it on Xbox or PC.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Microsoft just gave up on that whole thing.
Because funny enough,
they're moving more towards like Game Pass and stuff.
Because, like, I don't know how much you guys have been following. I have not been following too much, but the Apple Fortnite lawsuit is going on right now. And, like, even Microsoft and Sony has been dragged into it. Microsoft has testified in court that they have never made a profit with a single Xbox machine, ever.
Yeah, I read that too. It's kind of weird that how can you just keep selling consoles and never make profit?
But they explained it because they never made a profit with the consoles, but where they do make the profit is the games that they sold for those consoles. And that I can understand. They're selling the console basically like at a loss.
Free. Yeah.
But then they had way back in the day, like 360 era, they had like massive exclusives. The Halos and the Gears and the...
It's like when you buy a printer, it's like $20, but then you have to buy that ink and it's like $80.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the printer industry is a scam.
I think Nintendo has said the same thing in a few times, where they don't make hardly any profit, if any at all, on their consoles. They just want those software sales.
And that makes sense. Sure. For Nintendo especially, it makes massive sense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the only way that they've been able to keep their prices so low for so long, but that's what they shoot for too. That lower price is more family friendly. And I feel like that's part of their big advantage, is that they are able to keep their prices so low.
How much does a first party Nintendo game cost, like brand new?
60.
It's still $60.
Okay.
Yeah, like Pokemon Snap was $60.
Even the stuff that's not brand new is $60. According to, Nintendo likes to do the Wii U, port Wii U games because their Wii U software sales weren't good because nobody bought a Wii U. Or just port the old Mario games and make people pay 60, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, their pricing is pretty harsh, for sure.
Yeah, and like Rose is saying, the cartridge stuff, no sales at all.
Yeah.
I remember watching a video explaining why, and it's something with the cartridges and reasons why Nintendo games hardly go on sale. I can't remember at the moment, but
Yeah, and I know that like if you even though Mario Kart 8 came out on the Wii U, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a totally new game, and even though it came out whenever the Switch released, it is still $60. So it is a port, and it's a 3 or 4-year-old port at this point, and it's still $60.
And it's still making so much money, and I don't
And it's
understand.
still making money because
It's
people will buy it.
ridiculous.
Because that's kind of Nintendo's advantage, though. Like if I don't want to play $60 for Call of Duty, I can just go play Battlefield. If I don't want to play $60 for Pokemon Snap, well, shit, I want to play Pokemon Snap. Like there's not an alternative. It's just Pokemon Snap. But that's what they offer you. Is they offer you the unique Nintendo experience, and that's why people pay $60.
I mean, and look, I understand that. Like, if people are willing to pay $60 for every Nintendo game, then Nintendo's never going to lower the price.
Yeah. Yeah, even digitally. That's what I was actually had in my mind. It was the digitally, and they do occasionally have digital sales, very occasionally, and it is only around holidays. But it's not every holiday. So there have been a couple times where you could get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for $40. Don't tell them I told you that. Yeah, because that's I am foolishly holding out for a sale for Mario Party for the newest one. I think it's just Super Mario Party.
You can play that online with people now.
I saw that.
Took 2 years to do, but you can do it. And now I need friends.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day.
And even if they put it on sale, they don't have to go like 75% off. They can be like, 5.5% off.
Yeah.
And it's like still a massive save.
Yeah. And like that's the thing is like it is. It's still like, well, 5%, that's as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
I gotta do it.
The Apple lawsuit also, like, it revealed that the Epic Store, what they've tried to do is like buy Microsoft exclusives too. And they also revealed that the amount that they pay like average to developers for those exclusives, essentially what it amounts to, they pay basically for each the download, like what it amounts to is every game sale is about like $1 or $2. What the devs would kind of like get. So Epic is winning literally with the exclusives, like massively. And there is like this graph that even shows that every time there's Epic exclusives that they get released, they get a shitload of new users. Like the Borderlands 3 exclusive, like what was massive for Epic. So they work for Epic, and developers probably should ask for more money for those exclusives.
It is hard because you would then have to get everyone on board, because say you would want to ask for more money, but it's like all these other companies do it at this price, so it seems non-negotiable.
Negotiable.
Yeah, I said it. I said the word.
Yeah, but it's hard to, like, how do you make a contract that you don't know how it's gonna play out? You don't know if the game is actually gonna be a flop and maybe like 15 new people downloaded the app.
That's the risk you run.
Yeah.
Business is nothing but a series of gambles.
And I understand those developers like wholeheartedly when they take those exclusive deals, because they get a shitload of money. They can get like 200,000 or like even up to $1 million, and they don't have to think about anything. That's all our sales.
Extra money.
Yeah, and it's like a 1-year deal. Cool. And after that, then we can start selling our game. But we have this massive head start. You know, even if our game flops, we still got a shitload of money. And that is probably very comforting for those developers. Instead of like, we've been developing this game for like 4 years and we have no idea if we can recuperate our costs. And like we are literally gambling our like lives here. Like if this game flops, the company goes bankrupt and, we are in debt for the rest of our lives or whatever. And then if Epic comes over and be like, yo, dudes, we will pay you like $1 million. Yes, please, take my game. Whatever. I will take the backlash on Twitter for this shit.
Yeah, I mean that's the advantage of that kind of stuff is now you don't have to risk it. It is someone else's financial risk. It's like, dang, well I got my money.
Like $1 million is no risk for Tencent.
Right, exactly. $1 million is worth the gamble. They burn that up just lighting their cigar in the morning.
Yeah.
Fanning it on.
I don't know if you noticed, but Tencent is so big that they even have a building in GTA 5.
Oh no, I had no idea.
It says 10 cents. And
wow.
It's almost like 10 cents.
I didn't know that.
It's fucking dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, E3 next month. We will have obviously our E3 coverage. I'm super excited. I'm gonna watch everything. I know my schedule like my work schedule that coincides with when E3 happens, and I will be able to watch everything. I am super excited.
Do we know the E3 schedule yet? We don't do
the
it.
dates.
I mean, other than days,
The
yeah.
days,
yeah, dates, but I don't know if like the day
Oh,
schedules
and
are out.
we know the Ubisoft conference date, June 12th at 12 p.m. Pacific.
A
3
month
p.m.
from
Eastern.
today. Wowie zowie.
Yeah, EA announced also that they're gonna have a big Battlefield reveal next month, which will probably be one day before E3.
Yeah.
Do we have any pipe dreams? Anything we're hoping to see?
Elden Ring trailer.
Elden Ring?
Oh,
please.
That would be spicy.
If I'm being hopeful, I would say Metroid Prime 4 because I put that at our end of the year podcast, and looking back at it, I cry that I said that in the shower. Why did I say that on that? No way that happens. But I genuinely think they're going to show Breath of the Wild, the new one too. Hopefully, again, it's Nintendo. Nintendo does Nintendo Directs usually quarterly, except for last year, which they did none. But they did say in one of the newer Nintendo Directs that they were going to show Breath of the Wild 2 stuff this year. So probably not coming out this year, but I think they might show it. That's my pipe dream.
I hope we get God of War 5. I just want some more information about Ragnarok.
Even though how the logo looks.
I can't play it. Yeah, we know how the logo looks. Even though I won't be able to play it until, well, hopefully I have a PS5 by the time that comes out, because we have no release date or anything for it right now.
Probably.
What about you, North?
Probably God of War.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good one.
Or
Yeah,
Elden Ring. I can't decide.
They're both good. I mean, I think everybody is like, deep down in their heart, we're hoping for I mean, I'm wearing a Dark Souls shirt right now. I'm definitely, I'm hoping for an Elden Ring trailer real bad. Will it happen? Probably not.
The Elden Ring subreddit has been on suicide watch now for like 2 years. I occasionally go there.
One thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, because there's so many, like, I'm gonna call them rumors. I have no idea what is true and not true. But apparently, like, the prevailing kind of theory is that From Software announced Elden Ring way too early, and then they got hit with COVID, and it unexpectedly for the studio, like, completely, like, halted production or whatever, and they couldn't, like, get the game on track. And the prevailing theory right now is that Elden Ring is not going to release this year, maybe next year, most likely 2023.
Yeah, I feel like for us having no other information outside of the announcement trailer, there's no way it's coming out this year. There's no way. That would be insane for them to go from literally nothing to, yep, it's basically done.
Yeah, the only company I know that is like that does that is like Nintendo will pull the here's a game you've never seen before coming out in 3 months.
Or right now.
Yeah, or right now. Yeah.
It is playable today.
Look at this.
It's already on your Switch. Go check it out.
That was with like the Mario Golf thing, like the direct, like I think it was like 2 months ago at this point. Mario Golf comes out next month. I was like, I've never seen this before, but apparently it comes out in 3 months. So
yeah, Back
I feel
4
like
Blood
we're
is
most
pretty
definitely
likely.
going to see Back 4 Blood again. Back 4 Blood got like they had the open, or not, maybe not open, but they had that beta that Twitch streamers were able to like play the game. You got access to it. Yeah, you got it. You got it on it too.
Yeah, I got it via Rose. It was pretty. I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I definitely very much look forward to the full release. There was a few bugs, and there was some. They're definitely gonna have to work on like how their enemies spawn, and how they decide how many special zombies get put around. Because like at one point there was so many zombies on us that we just literally couldn't move. Like we couldn't kill them fast enough, and we couldn't move, and we just died. And there was that happened more than once. But it was I hope that we get some more information, because I think we don't have a release for it either, but I'm not 100%.
I want to go one more time back to the Epic versus Apple lawsuit. Another thing that has been revealed now because of, because everyone gets dragged into this. Even Walmart. Because
Dang.
through these confidential emails that have been revealed through this lawsuit, Walmart is planning on releasing their own cloud gaming service.
of
like
course,
Stadia.
that's the hot thing to do.
Wow.
I can't believe. Wait, hopefully this is old, because there's no way you see Stadia and then you're like, yes, I want what they have, because no
Maybe-
one wants what they have.
Maybe they watched our podcast, Trev, and they were like, holy shit, these guys really know what they're talking about. And they're just going to take the Stadia and do everything we said to it. And
Yeah,
they'll just
like
make money.
maybe the cloud gaming is the new thing to go for. Like maybe Soldier Boy should like have a like Soldier Cloud.
Soldier Cloud. Yeah, Cloud Boy.
I'm like, genuinely, if somebody does it good, it's going to be popular. Just because, like, everyone, did you see how like the player base for Among Us, right? Like 90% of it was people on their phones. That was ridiculous how many people just use it. So if you could have games on your phone just anywhere like that, like, of course, that's going to be huge.
Yeah, as soon as someone is able to do it well, it definitely will be massive. But who knows when that's going to be? I mean,
Yeah.
that's like a level of technology and internet magic wizardry that I don't think any of us understand.
Yeah, until we're getting like 500 meg download speeds walking, like in the car.
Right. I mean that's the kind of stuff that it's gonna have to take, and then all the back end garbage, and they're gonna have to hammer out a better medium between the subscription fee and still charging $60 for a game, because those don't jive.
Speaking of Stadia,
Ultimate 3, and it's there you go with like $40 a month. And
speaking of Stadia, more and more key personnel from Stadia is resigning and instead moving to Haven Studios, which is formed by ex-Stadia employees.
Well, they were making games, right? That got just cut.
Yeah, now they're not making games anymore.
Any of them.
Yeah.
I don't think they released any of the games that they were developing.
But
Bad for those
I
dudes.
could have mentioned this on the last episode, but I did not. Stadia did recently have an update, and now Stadia has a search bar.
Yes.
Wow. Maybe
I will buy it now.
I hope that it's as bad as like Windows 10 search bar when you like type in anything to the search bar and it's like looking stuff up on the internet and it can't find anything.
But I find it hilarious because the company that is known mostly for their search engine did not have a search bar in their product when it launched. And they hyped it up on Twitter. They literally like, get excited for this, you guys. We now have a search function in our product.
Yeah, how would you even find stuff without that?
You scrolled
Like,
from
if you
game
don't-
to game. It's like it was like the Epic Store when Epic Store launched. It didn't have a search function either.
Yeah, man. But back then, I feel like Epic only had like 7 games on the whole platform too.
Oh yeah.
Because
but-
one point I did use Epic for things, believe it or not.
But for Google, I think it's like not acceptable.
Right. Yeah. Number one, just the sheer amount of resources Google has, not to mention the fact that they are known for being a search engine.
The search engine.
Yeah.
It like I don't know. It's fucked up.
But I sure am glad that they were really proud of themselves about it.
Meanwhile, key personnel is just like fucking off to some like other studio.
Yeah.
I don't know. Stadia is gonna die like real soon. It's already it was limping when it came out, so you know.
Yeah. I'm really surprised that it's like I was just looking at the subreddit and it's still active, like very active. There's a lot, but it's mostly it's mostly announcements and then questions with issues.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stadia is like Ethan. Like his limb starts falling off, and he just keeps reattaching them. Like, oh, don't die yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your time.
Ethan is
Stadia
also a
just
funny
has to-
character in a whole because Ethan's face has never been revealed in neither RE7 or 8. And in 8 there's cutscenes where the camera it's not from Ethan's eyes. It's like the camera is like behind Ethan or whatever, or like, and they actively make an effort to not show his face because they can't, because he doesn't have a face.
I bet there's like I think they as in like Cyberpunk they have this third person mod where you can like have the camera somewhere else. I bet someone will mod and see what it actually is on the face. Is it just like blank face or just like
I mean, it's probably a blank face, yeah, honestly.
A void.
Two black dots and a
Yeah.
line.
Ding, ding. And not even like a nose there.
Yeah, no.
Couldn't afford the nose.
Yeah.
They probably wrote some mean message on his face to whoever gets the camera, hacks the camera to look at it. Just be
You're
like,
sued.
yeah.
For infringing.
Are you
The one
proud of
thing,
yourself? It's just printed on his face.
The one thing I wanted to mention from Village still. So this is gonna be a light spoiler for Village. Basically spoiling an enemy design. But the game has come under fire for copyright infringement.
What?
So this hopefully there's a movie called Frankenstein's Army, and this character design appears in Frankenstein's Army. And this is what appears in Resident Evil Village.
Oh my gosh.
That is a ripoff.
That's
so weird.
That is a very specific thing to have.
Yeah, it's not just a zombie. It's like a like it'd be different if it was a zombie or something, but it's literally a plane with legs.
Yeah,
so
like
impossible.
the whole plane engine is his head, and I like that's a very specific thing. Someone, man.
I don't know if they actually like copied this from this particular movie. I had never heard of this movie.
Oh,
The director of the movie gave an interview to IGN, like complaining about Capcom stealing his ideas. I feel he's genius. He's like now nobody has heard of this fucking movie, but I guarantee you, the more he talks some shit about Capcom, the more people are gonna watch his fucking movie. It's fucking genius.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
you
want to
should
watch
milk
it
it.
now.
It has
What
cool
is it even
enemies.
about?
It's
I don't know,
Frankenstein's
Frankenstein.
army, man. It's in the title.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Got
show
me.
you. I'll show you another, because someone made a Twitter thread about it too. Find the thread. So there's this Twitter thread also alleges that yeah, like all like that Capcom stole multiple designs. So I'm spoiling more designs, enemy designs from the game here. So apparently, like this enemy is also apparently ripped off of this enemy. I don't know, maybe. I mean, they're kind of similar, but you know, maybe. And then we have like
that one's definitely.
then we have like
pushing a
this
little.
thing is copied from this thing, and I don't really see it again.
Yeah, that's definitely stretching it. Because now they're basically saying anything with a vaguely similarly shaped helmet and claw arms is a knockoff.
yeah,
It
and
might
like
it might be like inspired by, but not
well, yeah,
like,
I mean they could take like inspiration, but like even like this last one is like I don't see it at all. The propeller
Yeah, no,
one,
that last one.
the propeller one I
is-
can.
Is
This one I get.
definitely spot on. But now that I've seen the rest of these, I feel like they're definitely reaching, and Capcom probably didn't copy them. They're
yeah.
probably just looking like them bringing up all the other ones just makes me think that now they're trying to get that.
I want to make clear that this thread is not made by the developer himself, the director of the movie. Like this Rich Raphurst is the director of Frankenstein's army, and I guess this Clone Corp dude is just a fan. Oh, he's a full-time Twitch improv comedian, it seems. Okay, well, whatever. But yeah,
That's unfortunate.
so that's the hot water, you know.
The hot water.
The hot water Resident Evil villages, and I mean the director's not gonna sue Capcom. Like
Oh
no way.
why would you?
He's gonna talk about this a little bit, and his movie is gonna see a bump in like viewership.
Yeah,
That's so
for sure.
Genius, fucking genius.
I mean, it is a cool enemy design, to be fair.
Yeah.
With the plane engine.
There's a little lore about the enemy too in the game, which I really enjoyed, and you know, cool.
There is a chance that just two people in a very specific position of power had the idea. There's a
is
very
definitely
possible.
minuscule chance. So
Definitely. Even though it's very specific, but again, like, how do you prove like copyright infringement?
yeah,
I mean, I guess you. And look, I don't even know like if those creature designs are copyrighted. I don't know if the director of the movie is like I'm gonna copyright these ideas.
or even if he didn't like copyright it from somewhere else, like, oh, this looks cool. I'm gonna steal that.
I don't know. I think that maybe he's legitimately mad. I don't know. Like his movies from 2013 that nobody has fucking seen. I think he'll be just happy if people watch his movie.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the original Frankenstein? I had to do that for a project. That movie's wild.
Boris Karloff's Frankenstein?
I think so. It's just one scene sticks out in my mind where Frankenstein just grabs a little girl and chunks her in the lake, and it's.
You mean the
so
monster?
funny.
Or
Yeah,
Mr.
do you mean the monster or
Oh,
Frankenstein
the
himself?
monster! I forget. This is why I did it for a project. I do not like that. Like the movie is aight, but like definitely not an enthusiast.
That has like it's probably my favorite Galaxy Brain meme, and it's that like the first one with like the dim brain is Frankenstein is the monster, and then the second one is Frankenstein isn't the monster, and then the Galaxy Brain one is Frankenstein is the monster. I was like, dang, really had me in the first half.
Yeah, maybe
That's
he's
what
the
I was
monster.
implying, by the way, when I said no.
Yeah.
I had today the best burger I've ever eaten in my life.
Where from? Where from? I like food.
So I didn't have time to like prepare my own food today because of work, so I decided to order. And it's this place called Bay. You know, the like BAE, like, you know, baby or like Bay.
Yeah.
And they had a cheeseburger. And I'm like, I'm super tired of these, you know, these new age hippie fucking bullshit restaurateurs who create like everything has to be the most unique thing ever, and like even a simple thing as burger has 16 different ingredients. I'm tired of that shit. This place, it had a cheeseburger, which was with an entrecote beef patty and cheddar cheese and caramelized onion with a brioche bun, a roasted brioche bun. And my God, that thing was so fucking good.
I bet it has to be good because I just looked it up online and it's 14 euros for a burger. And it's not a big one. It's kind of smallish.
I'd eat that.
It's definitely expensive, like a $14 euro burger. But I mean, I think the price comes from the entrecote beef. I don't know if I'm saying that right, like entrecote in like Finnish. I think it's either entrecote or entrecote.
I've never heard of it, so you got me.
I mean,
Setting
I can
an alarm
like
to get food.
Actually, like steak. It's basically like a real steak there.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm so hungry. I didn't eat before the podcast.
No, me neither. That's why I set my alarm. I got it going off in a few minutes.
Yeah, I will also be eating as soon as we're done.
You know, I think I want burgers. I think that's what I'm gonna
They
say.
also have
like look at this. I mean, either Joe or Trev. Like, how would you say that like name?
Hold on, I have to click on the link because it's yeah, like entre. What is that? The house above the O. I learned this in French.
Is that a
there's the
I don't know.
There's the thing for chat too, like, because I mean, I've been aware of entrecote like beefs for forever. They're just like higher quality steaks, and I feel like they're pretty not maybe popular, but you know, in like everyone just knows them over here. Like a lot of restaurants sell that, you know, and stuff.
It's a French word, so.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Entrecote. I don't know. That's. I took French for 2 years, but I can't remember how they pronounce words.
According to Wikipedia, it's corresponding to steaks known different parts of English-speaking words: ribeye.
Oh, it's a ribeye.
Scotch fillet, club, or Delmonico, or something like that.
I do want to try a Delmonico steak. I have heard Delmonico steaks are amazing. I don't know what makes them amazing, but I just know the name and I want it in my mouth.
It sounds good.
What was weird with like, cause I ate the burger and I was like, this is so fucking good that I want this again. So I looked them up, like, do they have like a restaurant? Because North is probably gonna come down here during the summer if like fucking COVID restrictions are lifted at any point. So, and my plan was to take North there. But they don't have like a place. You can just order from them. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
So it's just delivery?
Yeah.
Dude, what's funny is I saw an article today that was talking about that same thing. I didn't read it, but the title of it was some of your favorite restaurants may only exist on your phone. Because I guess because of how many are just shifting to delivery stuff.
It's
where do they make it?
Wednesday to Sunday. It's not open on Monday and Tuesday.
Which
is weird too.
Yeah,
I guess if they don't break even on those days, then you just don't open.
Yeah, I read on their website that they also have like a limited amount of food per day because they make like a limited amount. And, you know,
that's
then
how
it's
you know
just...
it's good.
Well, yeah, obviously. But yeah, I totally was like super impressed. I mean, better fucking be good if the fucking thing costs 14 euros. It's, well, probably the most expensive burger I've ever eaten.
Yeah, the only time I pay that much money for food is when I go like to the beach, and because seafood plus tourist area equals $30 for, you know, fried oysters.
Yeah, definitely. It's some fucking
oysters. Fried oysters are.
Yeah, that's what I ate today when I was working.
Nice. I had a real big bowl of ramen from a ramen shop in St. Louis that was really tasty. There's not really like any ramen places around here, so whenever I go somewhere that does have one, I try to get a bowl, and it is tasty.
Man, you're gonna upset me because it's like 8 p.m. here, right? So like nothing's gonna really be open after I'm done with this and like packed up, and I'm like, all right, now time to go eat. And it's like, all right, you can go to McDonald's, you can go to Cookout, you can go to Wendy's. And it's like, I want an entrecote steak.
Entrecote
on Wendy's now. Son of the Baconator will get you through the night, man.
The Baconator, yeah, actually.
Subnautica Below Zero 1.0 releases on Friday. North and me are very excited for that. Yes.
Hell yeah.
I will stream it on my channel, probably starting next week, because I am super busy.
I will binge it during the weekend.
And you would just have to imagine what North looks like playing it.
Well, he'll look a lot like that. He's not going to change.
Also, I'm going to probably look a little bit scared because deep waters are hella scary.
Yeah, Subnautica is a very special kind of horror game.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it really qualified as horror. That's interesting.
It doesn't.
Because it doesn't like it doesn't market itself as horror, but like the deep ocean, like especially the first Subnautica, when you encounter your first Leviathan, you hear that motherfucker, but you don't see him, and it's pitch fucking black, and then you see the silhouette coming towards you, straight towards you, and it keeps on coming. That is fucking terrifying. Like there's like a bajillion fucking compilations on YouTube too, when encountering the first Leviathan in Subnautica.
Did you ever play it, Joe?
No, I've never played it.
Really?
Yeah.
You gotta play that. I wonder if there's a clip of Tom finding.
All those clips are gone.
Oh yeah, you deleted them. It is hella scary though. Even though it's not supposed to be.
Yeah, like the one thing in Subnautica that why it is so scary is the atmosphere and sound design. Because the ocean is not quiet, and most of it is like roars and creepy noises from the depths. And some of those things are fucking huge and they will kill you.
Fun.
Yeah.
And because it's like obviously like a 3D space where you can go every direction because you're underwater, and because it's first person, when you hear those things, it like because the sound design how it's designed, you hear it from all the directions because sound travels in water like everywhere, and you don't know how fucking far it is or how close it is, and you get this creepy feeling that it's like behind you because you don't know. And it's fucking nerve-wracking.
Well, that's definitely the first instinct because you hear it, but you don't see it. So you're like, where am I not looking? Behind me. Turn around.
And then you're like 2,000 feet under, and you're going through like a cave where you can like barely fit yourself, and then you find others weird stuff there. It's hella scary.
It is a creepy game. Yeah, I will play that probably next week.
I'm finally gonna get my hands on the new old Nier game that got remastered that I bought a week ago that came out. Yeah, Replicant. I've heard it's good. From the one friend I have that actually likes Nier. So I'm excited. I'll probably play that this weekend. I was planning to stream it. I'll probably still stream it. Just the band studio stuff kind of popped up out of nowhere. So, but I'm done with school, boys. So summer's free, at least this semester. So
anyway, thanks for watching, everyone.
It was a good one.
Yeah, next week we'll talk about probably Subnautica.
Next week we won't talk about squat. However,
next episode,
Subnautica after that.
Can we talk about food again? That was fun.
Yes,
I don't know.
that too.
Yeah, we can talk about food again.
That's the homework: is eat it someplace nice and bring it to the table, and we'll.
For sure.
Yeah, next week, or not next week. Next episode will be the. Oh no, we have 2 episodes before E3.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of sucks that we have like an episode right before, like literally 2 days before E3 starts.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
everything that always happens.
Maybe we do like a special E3 episode. Maybe I'm gonna talk to you guys about maybe rescheduling one episode so it's closer, like after E3, so that we could maybe be relevant like once.
Yeah. We'll see.
All right.
We don't want to be too relevant.
Yeah, and definitely not promise anything.
They'll start stealing our ideas if we get too relevant.
Yeah. Make their
Like
stadia.
I had this crazy idea that we're gonna do like a post E3 podcast after every conference, like after one day's conference, so we have like every day we have a show. Then I'm like, I'm not even gonna pitch that shit because it will be shot down immediately. I would love to do it like during E3, but what I will probably end up doing is I will sit in voice in some Discord with people just watching it live and riffing on it. I know Joe and me have done that a couple times on not E3 specifically, but maybe even E3. I don't even remember.
I feel like we've done it on E3, and I know we've done it on the Game Awards several times.
Yeah. Honestly, I like doing those things. Like I don't really want to go live during those events, but I think it's better to just watch it and collect your thoughts and then like do a show. But
for sure.
But yeah, that's next month. E3 fucking snuck up on me. Like usually I think about these things like constantly or during the year, but now I haven't. And then I saw like one headline that some companies are just gonna like be at E3, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think I do remember that, Rose. I think it may have been. I don't know when it was.
Yeah, the problem I have is that I watch a lot of different similar shows to E3.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Smile and wave, I guess.
Yeah, woo, I love this part.
Bye.
Have a nice day, and don't commit crimes.
That's a
Oh,
good
too late now.
Oh man, I have to change my plans.
Yeah. I don't know. Watch our channels. Watch YouTube. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Peace.
Most likely. Yeah. See ya. Bye.